We're joined now by Bob O'Donnell. He's President and Chief Analyst at TECHnalysis Research. So, Bob, I'd like to get your thoughts on Huawei's newest products, but especially the debut and significance of its new Harmony operating system.
Well, look, it's an interesting effort, but I have to be honest with you, I think Huawei is going to be severely challenged. The bottom line is they're talking about moving to new chip architectures because they're going to even be moving, they've talked about moving away from the high silicon, the Kirin chips, and then moving to a new OS. That's going to be extremely difficult. It's certainly not going to do anything outside of China. And even within China, I think it's going to be challenging because the bottom line is new OSs take years and years and years to develop a stable set of applications. So I'll be honest, I don't think it looks particularly great for them right now, even despite having some products that look reasonable, but the much bigger picture is overhanging them right now.
Well, they have been working to become more self-reliant with their own chips. Do you think Huawei overall, the company, can survive with its domestically produced chips? What will it take?
It's going to be tough because here's the other thing you have to bear in mind. Not only, so first of all, the worldwide smartphone market has been declining, and that impacts everybody. Then you've got the fact that Huawei is not going to be able to get the chips that they need from almost anybody to power these devices. They're going to run out of the supply that they have, and then on top of that, they're trying to do a new OS. Then if you look at network equipment, which they're also have been a big part of, you have a couple of other factors. First of all, of course, there have been all the governmental challenges around the concerns of having Huawei network infrastructure equipment that's considered a security risk by a lot of people. But on top of that, there's also changes within the overall network infrastructure market, moving to something that's more open. There's a technology movement called Open RAN, standing for Radio Access Network. And that's impacting all of the traditional network infrastructure companies. So Huawei is getting hit on essentially all sides from all of this, and it's going to be a serious challenge. And to me, it frankly raises questions about China's desire to try and be completely independent. They talked about the China 2025 effort. To me, this Huawei example highlights how I don't know that they're going to be able to pull that off.
How big of an impact would you say then has the U.S. and other countries, their sanctions turning away from Huawei, has that really damaged the company? And what, talk about the positive here, if anything, if the company has been able to produce and innovate despite the sanctions and other international pressures.
Well, so a couple of things. What I would say is I think that we haven't really seen the impact of the sanctions. So, I mean, if you look at the numbers and the shipment numbers that Huawei's put out, they've still been pretty good, better than I think some people expected. But the reality is a lot of times these sanctions do take a while. So I think we're going to see a much more challenging position for them in 2021. They have been able to design some interesting products in the past. They've pushed the market forward. They were one of the first with foldable phones, although that one didn't come out. But they've done a number of things along those lines, and I think there's a number of people there who can try and do that. But these outside pressures, I'll just be honest, I think they're a very serious challenge.
And Bob, do you think some of that pressure could ease under a potential new, different administration? If Joe Biden wins the presidency in the United States, could we see some change there and in effect some of that pressure from other countries as well?
Potentially. That's, I mean, although as I heard, the gentleman from South Korea describing it, I think there's a general sense that certainly early on, even if there is a Biden victory, that the policy is not going to change dramatically. And so then the big question was, if it takes a while before those changes occur, how much damage is done to Huawei before anything can happen? And that's the unknown that, it's really hard to say.